Welcome to the AFC East Shakedown. I'm your host, Tommy, and joining me is my main man, Curtis, representing the Miami Dolphins. And below me is Anthony, representing the New Jersey Jets, baby. Jets. All right, so
we can't all play the Canadian national anthem at our home games, unfortunately.
Hey, how's Fireman Ed doing? Is he doing all right over there?
He's back on the Jumbotron.
Did he take his
I saw him on the Jumbotron at the Halloween game, so obviously whatever was going on, it worked.
Good.
He's back on the screen.
The world is right.
I was super concerned. I was super concerned about Fireman Ed and the New Jersey Jets. So
I was losing sleep over it.
I figured that. So we already talked about your Jets. Your Jets finally got the win. They finally snapped their losing streak versus the Texans. So we went through that. But I'll talk to you real quick, Anthony, because we didn't get to hear from you on that game. But we all talked about it last week. But what's your thoughts about snapping that losing streak?
Well, obviously, kind of a bit of a surprise. I figured that week as a whole, kind of came by surprise. I mean, the Patriots game was an utter disaster. I mean, you had to win that game to keep hopes alive. I did say I thought they were going to 1-1 in that stretch. I figured they beat the Patriots, lose to the Texans. They end up doing the opposite. Is kind of the way that they kind of go about things. But it's good to get back on the winning side. And I don't know. Add some hope to whatever we have going on. But you got to start stringing away some wins. The wins have to come at 3-6. Obviously, more wins have to come. They want to keep whatever life support the season's on alive. Can't lose any more games. Really, is like kind of the name of the game at this point.
I know that feeling.
You probably have room for one more loss. But that's really about it, and we'll see if they can actually do that.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, at least you snapped the losing streak. So, because if you lose there, man, then I think you could officially stamp it as it being over for your season. So you're still alive with that win. I think you still have a tough battle this weekend on the road, but we'll get to that later. So let's dive right into Week 9's games. We'll start with. By the way, real quick, anyone that's watching, we do have a couple missing. Zach is sick today. That's why he is not on the shakedown today. And Captain D might be on in a little bit. He got tied up in a meeting. So that's, if you're wondering, that's where they are at. One sick, one out in a meeting. But Anthony and Curtis are here. So
we are.
So let's.
Bottom feeders are here to do our talk.
That's right. So let's dive into the bottom feeders, or one of them, and that is the Patriots game. So the Titans beat the Patriots 2017. Let's talk to you, Curtis. What about that game? Did you predict the Patriots to beat the Titans, or?
Yeah,
I think I had the score about right.
I think it was like 17-13 or something like that. It was a little tighter than what I thought it would be.
Okay, I think I picked the Titans, but I think I picked it by like 3 points. So I was right. I thought it would be a back and forth. But what's your thoughts on the game, though?
I didn't watch it. I was too busy being depressed about my day.
Oh, come on. You didn't watch it? I did see a highlight of May. He made an unbelievable touchdown.
I don't know how really good. I did see a few clips of that. He does look good.
Yeah, he does. He doesn't give up on plays. So that is a positive note for May moving forward. If you're a Patriots fan, like that, you like to see that in your quarterback. But I still say wait till year 2. That's when you'll really know what you got. Right now, it's a little too early to tell. He is a little careless at times with the football. He did throw 2 interceptions. So he has to kind of be careful with that a little bit moving forward. But he's a rookie, so that's going to happen. Anthony, what's your thoughts? Did you happen to watch any highlights of this game or stat sheet?
I was on that. Kind of don't really see much of that game, but I would say for the Patriots fans, like that's probably the kind of game you want to see. You want to see this team kind of being in fight. Obviously, it was only the Tennessee Titans, so you're not really expecting like for that to be a win or a loss either way. But it's positive for the Patriots overall. I think that loss puts them at the number 1 seed or number 1 pick at the draft right now. And they showed promise out of the rookie quarterback. Drake May going down there, especially after making an interception. I thought the game was over in that last interception he threw, but they ended up getting the ball back. He goes down the field and then scores that last second touchdown. It's probably, I mean, that's like a recipe for success as far as like you guys are concerned for the Patriots. You show fight, you get it to the end, and you lose, and that helps your draft stock. So big for them, and we'll see what Drake May's at. I mean, he's shown a lot of promise. I mean, his ability to run the football like with his legs, get yards there, and then like the last drive was just evading pressure, getting out of the pocket, get there, and that pass to Ramondre Stevenson got to the end zone, and you'd like to see him probably go for 2 there because what do you got to lose? But then going to overtime and getting lost. That's probably the only thing I would say could have gone a little different for him is go for 2 and see what happens instead of pushing it to overtime.
Yeah, you're a losing team. Yeah, exactly. You're losing. What do you got to lose at this point?
Have you guys noticed? I was like looking. You were talking about like draft stats. Have you noticed how many bad seasons teams are having? There's a lot. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 2-win teams, 2, 3-win teams, and the
AFC. That's a lot of them.
I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's what's keeping. Especially in the AFC, that's what's keeping the playoff hopes alive for a lot of these teams that are struggling because it's not been a good year for a lot of teams. Underperforming.
Not much parity, man.
No, it really isn't. So,
polarity.
Yeah, but I don't. But the Patriots. I mean that loss there. I didn't think the Patriots are going to do anything anyways. But that officially is ended that any type of hope for the Patriots. Let's move on. Let's move on to the Bills and the Dolphins game. Actually, a very good game, Curtis. Yeah, Bills and Dolphins. Actually, closer than I thought.
Yeah,
I thought we would beat you. Yeah. I thought we were gonna not steamroll you, but I thought we were gonna win by at least 10-14. And it came down to a 61-yard field goal. So go ahead, Curtis. What's your thoughts on this game?
Well, I thought you guys would win by like 14, but I thought Cooper and Benford. I didn't know they were going to be out. I think you could definitely tell that. I watched Cooper the one game, but you can see that your offense can easily get compressed without that leverage. But then you look at my Dolphins, and look, I don't like the build. I don't believe in them, but you could see you guys blitzed us twice. Too high all day. You had 8 cover 1s, which was a little surprising, but you could see Waddle and Hill just pushing that defense off, but you guys don't have. So we played well. You guys, gave us a lot of space. It was almost like you said, let's run the football, but we're not going to give you big runs. We'll give you like the 10 and the 8, but we're just not giving up touchdowns. We're not giving up big runs, and then we're going to kind of come back and let our offense do our thing. I think that you got rooked a little bit, though. That weird penalty on who was it? Rap with Mostert, like the roughing. That was
a bad call.
And then there was 2 holding calls at the end of the half. I think that would have made it a little bit different. But
the phantom holds. Yeah.
But my Dolphins played really well. But that's the best they're gonna play. And nothing against your team, but your team's not what it's been in the past. The defense is like 15th against the run, 16th against the pass. The offense is very consistent. I think you guys are developing consistency, and you're like keeping Allen fresh, which I think is critical going forward. I don't know if you got the firepower to win it this year, but I think you were like a B plus team, maybe, B to B plus team. So, but my team gave everything they have, and it's kind of like frustrating because it was all the fans, Dolphin fans, they're like, well, look what we did. How good we played the last 2 weeks. I'm like, we lost. And then you have this divide now of half the fans are like, we're doomed. This is a bad build. We're not going anywhere. And then the other half is like, you're missing. You're not seeing. We're turned the corner. And it's just the same thing every year. And it's really draining when you try to cover this team and you try to be a fan of this team. So it was good in one sense, but I felt like if we just got blown out, it would have kind of like put a stamp on everything. It would have been, easier to move on. Now it's like, we have an opportunity. We're like the Jets, they're 3-6, we're 2-6. But it's such a weird place. And it sucks. We lost to a 61-yard field goal. And it was just, I don't know. It seems like the gods are against us. I'm going to put a bag on it.
Yeah.
Curtis, you think this
Scott
2-game
wants
stretch?
What happened?
I'll say, you think this 2-game stretch gives Chris Grier another opportunity?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, the fans, they like it's. Look, I'm trying not to be like negative or anything. I'm trying to be, rational. But all the Dolphin fans need is like the smallest kernel of some kind of positive, and it's like we're off the races. Oh no, you see, we turned the corner. McDaniel figured it out. This is the start of something big. I'm like, what? Maybe. I don't think so, but I'm sure that Ross and the media machine's going to create whatever they need to get it back next year. I think that's just it's like, unless we lose, like, I don't know, we're like 6 wins on the season. I think even 7 wins, they could spin it like, well, 2 is out 3 games, and that could have been 10 and, whatever, 10-7. So I don't know. I don't know what to do anymore. I really don't know what to do anymore. It's like, I feel like I'm in the twilight zone, normal stuff, you're 2-6. And you'd be like, we suck, No, you don't get it. You don't see.
Scott's wondering how you guys are doing. Your fans out there under this Buffalo Bills dominance in the East. But here's a question though by Roy Curtis. What do you think is holding the Fins back?
Well,
we're gonna get on another.
There's a lot. The main thing is this. Look, Chris Grier had unprecedented draft. I try to explain this to people, and it's like it's so basic. He had unprecedented draft capital, and he could have built like the 7. My son. Sorry. He could have had unprecedented. He could have built like the 70s Dolphins, or he could have built like the 80s Dolphins. And it seemed like with Funball, the way it was going, the 80s Dolphins was the right build. You pass your way to success. You get pass rushers to get after everybody who's throwing the football all the time. But the league was already moving, and he didn't see it. And now he's got this whole build with all these pass rushes, nothing inside, very thin. We're the oldest team in the NFL after having like 3 first-round picks and 2 first-round picks. I mean, one of them got taken away later. We've had so much draft capital with the oldest team, and we're built to throw the football all day, and we're built to stop the pass. But that's not what the league is about now. It's about pass balance, running inside, stopping. And so we're doomed. It's like, I guess the fans and the media can just drag this thing out for a couple more years. I feel like, what was the guy's name? The Cincinnati coach who was there for like 20 years and like won 1 playoff game. Marvin Lewis. Yeah. That's what I feel like it's going to be, because it's just, they're not willing to like get rid of the hopium. So we're just not built for the way the NFL's going. And then the media's going to tell you it's Tua. The media's going to tell you it's bad luck. It's the whole thing. It's a clear disaster. You cannot be the oldest team in the league at this stage. And so it's the GM and the owner.
What do you think? I don't know if you.
Other than that, we're doing great.
So I was being a little facetious, but what do you truly think like the Dolphins are going to do, like as far as it relates to Chris Grier and?
They want to bring him back at all costs. They extended Ramsey, they extended Hill, they extended Tua, they extended McDaniel, they extended I think I had 2 already. And I'm hearing from some people they said they extended Grier already. So everything's been extended. There's tons of money, and there's probably no incentive. Because all I need to do is just, if they can get to 6 or 7 wins, or even maybe 8, let's say, all the media machine's going to do is say, look, we were so close. If 2 doesn't go down, look where we're going to be. We get all these picks next year, and it's just a hustle.
And sometimes that's the worst way for a season to go, like just getting like 7 or 8 wins.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes you just rather just like, oh, we sucked. We need like to tear it up from the bottom up or from the top down. I mean,
yep.
But when you get that like 7 or 8 wins, it really kind of gets you to I mean, that's what we had last year for the Jets. Like, got 7 wins without Rodgers. It was all about, oh, well, this coaching staff, they only had a legitimate quarterback. Everything turns around. And obviously, Robert Saleh got fired 4 games in or 5 games in, whatever it was, 5 games in. Obviously that decision to keep him around for another season was a poor one. It happens, unfortunately. Happens to the best of us, Curtis.
But you know what the thing is with the Jets, at least, your owner is not a pariah. GMs and coaches, they don't mind going there. But for the Dolphins,
I don't know about
people
that.
don't like Stephen Ross. They don't trust him.
Belichick told everyone on national TV that the reason he left was basically because of the owner. I mean,
yeah, well, but that's Belichick.
Curtis, what do you think about? Did you hear this comments by Foxworth? Just curious. I want to play this for you real quick.
The biggest reason
I didn't hear about that. You think they eased up on him?
Maybe on Monday that you felt like Buffalo Bills players were easing up on Tua, as if to consciously say, we don't want to end his career. How did you come to that conclusion?
It was just watching the game, and it popped into my head when I saw it on that 4th down, and also when I saw it on one of the pass rush attempts. And it wasn't like a completely prevalent thing, but it looked odd to me. And maybe I was out there looking for it because we all were kind of nervous watching Tua play. And it shocked me because that's not the mentality I would have had, or the mentality any player that I've played with would have ever had. And I could be wrong. I'm sure no Bills players would step up and say that. And I imagine that Tua did not experience it that way. But when I was watching the game, particularly that 4th down, when Tua dove for the 1st down, an important moment, that's a play that you normally meet him head to head right there. So I'm not passing any judgment one way or the other, but that was the way that I experienced that game, and it shocked me.
But did you ever ease up on somebody for any reason?
Hell no. No, like never. I had one play where Eddie Royal, I think, eased up on me. He was a receiver for the Broncos, and Jay Cutler was scrambling. He scrambled left, and then he came back right, and instead of hitting me in the head on the blindside block, which was legal back then, Eddie hit me in the chest. So I was awake when I got up and coughed up some blood, and I thanked Eddie. I got traded from the Broncos earlier in that season, so we were teammates, and I was like, I appreciate it, Eddie, because he could have knocked me out, but instead.
So what do you think about that? Do you think that there's any kind of truth to that, or you think? Because the reason why I ask that is because I wonder if moving forward, other teams, because I will say this, in the Cardinals game, I felt like when I was watching some of your highlights or on Red Zone, I felt like when Tua took off a few times that Cardinals players could have probably popped him good, and they kind of eased up a little bit. I mean, of course, like he said, we could just be looking at it a certain way because it's Tua. I didn't really notice that, I'll be honest with you, in my game, that players were easing up at all. But did you notice that? And do you think moving forward, teams are, but do you think players are aware of it? Going like when they're, going against Tua, just in general, like, hey man, maybe I don't want to really lay it into this guy. I'm just curious, just offhand.
I have no clue. What do you think? I mean, I would suppose that if it's a critical game, it's a must win. Nobody's going to give a darn. I mean,
okay. No, it was just a question I had to ask.
Maybe I'd have to go back and look. I didn't feel that at all, but I wasn't really analyzing. I wasn't like even considering.
Neither was I. Yeah, I didn't look. Go ahead, Anthony.
I would say it's kind of like that across the board. Like, I mean, how many times do you see quarterbacks scrambling? I mean, even Mahomes last week. I mean, he could have gotten drilled on that long run he had, whatever. I mean, players tend, when the quarterback's running the ball, to ease up. I mean, you never really see him kind of go in because obviously, like, you hit the quarterback too hard. I mean, obviously, it's fair game, but once he starts to slide, you hit him, whatever, that flag is coming out. So I think it's a tendency these defenders do, like, on a natural basis. Like, whenever the quarterback's running the ball, just be careful because you hit him while he's on the slide, that flag is going to come out. Yeah. So it's kind of, I don't think it was anything like special treatment or anything like that Tua was getting. If that's like kind of,
I don't think.
I know.
I don't think he's going with special treatment there. I think he was saying maybe where I'm going with it is, I wonder if players are a little bit more cautious is all I'm saying. Like when it comes to him, because it is still like a brotherhood in the whole NFL. Yeah. They don't want to see another guy go down like that. So I was just asking because it was out there. I never heard that. Even honestly, yeah, he said it this week sometime and when he was on as a guest. Anthony, what's your thoughts on the games?
So yeah, we're still on the Bills game here. So exciting game. I honestly thought it was going to be kind of a multi-score win for the Bills as well. I think that's kind of what the going rate was on that one. I think Vegas had them at 6-point favorites, 6.5, whatever the final number ended up being. But Dolphins fought. I mean, there was plenty of opportunities for the Bills as well. They had that one drive where they got inside the 15, 10-yard line. He threw that interception to Ramsey. A pass that really Coleman was the one, right? That was in possession there. I think Coleman.
Yeah.
Hands and I mean Ramsey made a nice play too. It kind of like swirled around a little bit right to his arms. So it was definitely opportunities for the Bills to kind of run away with it. At the end of the day, they put the game in Bass's leg, and after weeks and weeks and weeks of just one missed kick at a time, he drills an improbable 61-yarder that nobody thought he was going to make right there, except for McDermott, I guess.
I thought that was going to cost you guys.
Yeah, we got the most. By the way, if you don't know this guy, Curtis and Anthony, I might as well go ahead and tell you. We have dubbed Mr. Fulton Martz as the most interesting man in the chat. So yet the most interesting man in the world. He's the most interesting man in the chat because he always has something new and different going on. So hello, Tommy. I'm going to be at my Special Olympics prom this evening, and I'm going to ride in for my first time. All right, I'm riding in for my first. Very good, man. Congrats. So that's the most
awesome. He's a young guy. I wish I was his age.
Yeah, Mr. Fulton. All right, so basically, yeah. Look, man.
Congrats,
the game was a lot closer than. Yeah, the game was a lot closer than what I wanted it to be, but I'll take a W anytime, right? It doesn't matter how you win by one, don't matter. But I thought the Dolphins' game plan was perfect. Dink and dunk, pretty much all game. The Bills were going to give them that, so why not take it? I felt like they kind of the Dolphins started that way the first game we played and went away from it. I felt like they were running the ball more, going to the edge more, kind of they weren't going to that right away. And then I think they went away from it. And this time around, they're like, okay, we're just gonna give what the defense is taking, take what the defense is giving us. So that's exactly what they did. Achane is man, he is your MVP right now for the season so far. He is really, really dynamic, good player. And the thing is with McDermott, it's a bend don't break type of defense that always has been.
Yeah.
The problem with it is at times it breaks, and it broke against the Dolphins because when these teams get in the red zone, that's usually when our defense kind of tightens up. We only allow 3 points, and we trust Josh to get the 7 to counter that. So it usually works on our favor, but some games it don't work that way. And the Dolphins were scoring. So, yeah, it was a bad. I thought it was a bad on McDermott to keep playing like that throughout the course of the game. But McDermott just does not want those big plays happening, and he's going to continue to do what he does, which is that soft zone rush 4, no exotic blitzes. We just don't do many blitzes, and it's weird because McDermott started with in Philly under what was his name. What was his name, Curtis? A good defense coordinator there forever. Man, legend. I forget his name, but he was under him forever. That's where he came out of that system. And then he went to Carolina.
It's not Ryan. No, that was after that.
I forget his name. If Roy can tell me. It was the Philly defensive coordinator, if you can look it up. But he was under him.
Jim Schwartz. Jim Schwartz?
No,
Jim Schwartz?
Man. You think McDermott did not go under Jim Schwartz? No, he was an old school Eagles defensive coordinator. Was there forever. I can't believe I'm not forgetting his name right now. I can't remember his name. And then he went to Carolina, and he had the linebackers there where he ran the blitz with Thomas Davis and Luke Kuechly, but he could never get it right here in Buffalo. Did you find that, Curtis, for me?
I'm looking.
Jim Schwartz was there from 2016 to 20.
No. It was older than that, man. McDermott's been around for a little while. It wasn't Schwartz.
I'm looking. Jim Johnson?
Jim Johnson, yes. He was he was very,
he took over,
very aggressive.
Took over for 2 years in 2000.
And then he got fired. So what happened? Thank you. Somebody right in the chat, right when you found it, Jim Johnson. So what happened on that Eagles team? Jim Johnson was really good DC. When Sean McDermott took over, he got fired because he was over aggressive. So you can't, like, he didn't know how to balance it right. So when we went to Carolina, he switched it up a little bit and used his linebackers more for exotic blitzes, which they could do. But in Buffalo, hasn't worked. Just has not worked. So that's why he only rushes 4. He stopped going with the linebacker blitzes. You don't really see that from us. We also were missing Benford that game, though I thought Kaiir Elam played pretty good. I'm not going to hate on Kaiir. I think Kair's having a bounce back season. But you're right, Curtis. Missing Amari Cooper, you could see our offense was a little clunky. It just was players kind of struggled. Like Keon Coleman didn't have his best game. And by the way, Keon Coleman got hurt, so he's weak.
How bad is he injured?
That Poyer hit. Wrist injury. Seems like everyone's has a wrist injury on my team right now, so they're not going to put him on IR. But it looks like he's going to probably be out until after the bye week.
I was going to make a wrist injury joke, but I won't.
Huh?
What the hell is everyone doing around the campfire? They're hurting their wrists.
No, I don't know. I don't know, right? Well, you could think Poyer. Poyer's the one that hurt him on that. That was the hit. That's what the helmet hit the wrist, I guess, or whatever. And then we had another guy in that game.
W.
Yeah, and then the week before was Cooper, who was blocking and got his wrist jammed up in a block.
Wrist
That's why
is messed
Cooper was
up too from blocking.
Yeah, it's crazy. So. Yeah,
does it seem like there's more injuries this year? It seems like there's just so
many. It's crazy. Well, listen, my team always has injuries, so we're kind of used to it as Bills fans right now. It seems like once we get a player back, another player goes down. It's just like we just have terrible luck. But I will say in that game, I had no faith in Tyler Bass in that kick. Zero faith at all. He missed an extra point. He almost missed another extra point. That doinked off the crossbar, went in, thank God. Tyler Bass has missed 3 extra points this year. Not good. His confidence was not good. And I was saying the only way that kid can get his confidence back, and I've been saying it all year, is if he makes a game-winning, crucial field goal. And there it was. And I'm hoping.
Big time.
Yeah, I am crazy. 61. And by the way, it had a lot of legs still on it. Like, that could have been good for 65, 66. Like that thing went like I had he put a lot of leg into it. And it was right down the middle, which is crazy. I do want to ask you this, and I think I did ask you this, Curtis, on email. We went a little bit back and forth. People were asking and questioning your coach, McDaniel, for not calling a timeout there, for not icing Tyler Bass. And I know you responded, you told me basically, hey, but if he makes it and he calls timeout, or if he misses it and he calls timeout and then he goes and makes it afterwards and he's going to get ridiculed. But my point was, this guy's been struggling. You know it. Like coaches know when you go against a team who's struggling on their team, right? Like especially kick, you're going to know. So he clearly knew and he saw how the game was going. I wonder why he didn't call a timeout there and at least try to ice him, because you had 2 timeouts. Who cares? Anyways, you only had 5 seconds. You weren't going to use it. You know what I mean? So what's your thoughts on him not calling a timeout? Because a lot of people are like questioning that decision.
Well, maybe, but then you also think too that Bass, he gets the kick off. Even so if he calls time at the last second, they always get the kick off. So it's almost like a practice kick. So I don't know about the freezing thing,
He did freeze a kicker last year, though, doing that, McDaniel, they said. I read that somewhere where you had a game where he –
that's like
yeah. So there was a game last year that he did that. Yeah, I'm just surprised. For me, I think you have to call a timeout there. You have to freeze him because of the way – you want to get into a kicker's head that's already not playing his best football. I'm just saying. Now, if this was another kicker, fine. That's been on fire. Who cares at this time? But you're going against a kicker that's really been under a lot of heat. Kickers coming in to compete against them. I mean, calling a timeout is going to make him, think even more. I don't know. I'm just as a coach, I would have probably called a timeout there to make.
Yeah,
I'm
always on the fence because I've seen a bunch of times where the guy does it and the guy misses. Then
no, I do. I get you. Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm just going by. Like the player who's missed already almost 1 extra point, almost missed another, struggling all year. I'm trying to.
Now I just don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we got bigger fish to
I get it.
I think there's also a mind.
What's your thoughts, Anthony?
As well. Like I think like sometimes when you see the guy coming up, like just like next to the referee, like the kicker sees him at his peripherals, thinks the timeout's coming. There might be a mind game thing there too. Like, it doesn't have to be necessarily calling a timeout every single time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things you can look back, and we've seen many cases where the guy calls timeout, the guy misses the kick, and then you look like an idiot
for sure.
I mean, it happens either way. But I mean,
no doubt. I would call the timeout is all. I think in that particular moment you do. 10 seconds to go, just call a timeout because you can. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Roy. That's the only point I'm saying. It wasn't like you're wasting a timeout for, like, I don't know. To me, call a timeout there, but whatever. It is what it is.
I'm a football snob. When it comes to special teams, I don't even pay attention half the time.
Yeah, but you should. But
I don't know nothing about it.
Yeah,
it's like Chinese.
But you're a fan in a way. He's a coach.
Yeah,
you have to pay attention. Like, that's his job. Like,
I guess
to know your personnel. You know, I'm just saying. I would have been mad at McDermott. You know what I mean? Like, for not. Trust me, I would have been talking about it all week.
McDermott for that stupid challenge on Tua. You could have used that timeout. You might not have had all.
So here's the deal with that. So McDermott doesn't call challenges anymore. It's the guy we hired, and I'll take that all day.
Get another guy there, man.
The referee, the guy. The guy's been.
Perry, right?
That's our first. John Perry. That's our first missed challenge. So I'll take that. I'll take that all day. I'll trust him over McDermott decision to call, challenges all day. So McDermott was one of the. By the way, McDermott was second worst, and your coach is number one in challenges.
Nice, we're number one in something at least.
Yeah. So congratulations. So
winning.
Guys, let's get to. Yeah, and so that's it for last week. We already talked about last week's game. Let's get to some of the awards here real quick. Let's get to the Boo This Man. Curtis, Boo This Man, who you got on your team? Who do you want to boo this week?
Who do I want to boo? I got to boo David Long and May, our safety, missed tackles. They even demoted Long. He's just not good for what we're doing. He's a shooter. He's not a cover guy. I mean, linebacker, and you could add in Cam Smith in there. He struggled a lot. Our defense really, we didn't miss a lot of tackles. We missed a lot of critical tackles. And May, that miss on Davis, man, was so bad. It was like ugly, man, when he took a swing pass, was for the TD. So those guys, I mean, there's a lot of, it's hard to really, I would have to give it Drake May for that miss, because he missed the week before. He missed the tackle on what's his face, the quarterback for AZ, and that gave him the first down to run the clock. Murray, yeah. So he's got two big missed tackles, and I'm going to give it to him. I'm pinning it on him. Not Greer this week. It's going to be on May.
Okay, Anthony, who you got for your last Thursday's game? Since we didn't really
for Boo This Man, I gotta go with Malachi Corley. That first touchdown of the game, or first should be touchdown of the game.
Oh my God!
Takes that end around and just drops. Like, what is going on with people in the NFL? Like it even happened like a couple weeks ago where like the guy ended up scoring a touchdown. What is it? Is it a cool thing to like run into the end zone and drop the ball like as soon as you get in there? Like, don't you want to just make sure you get across the goal line? And in his case specifically, that would have been his first career touchdown. So I'd be holding that shit like my firstborn. Like, you're not gonna put that in the trophy case,
right.
Do whatever the hell you want to do with it. But no, he drops it, and his first touchdown gets taken off the board, and that's a play that we're going to talk about a long time. Remember when Deshaun Jackson did it like in his like first or second year, a long touchdown, and just drops right before. And similar situation, it happens, but you can't have that when you're in a losing streak and you're trying to win against a team that I know you were favored against, but that could have come back and really bit us in the ass if you didn't. Luckily,
could you imagine that? Sinking your season on that sucker?
Oh my God!
Oh my God! Yeah. I couldn't believe it, man. That was crazy.
Interesting. I mean, they got to the point where an onside kick type of situation, but it's like, damn, if this comes down to this, just because you freaking couldn't just hold on to the ball for another split second, oh my God, that would just be typical type of situation there.
Yeah. Mine is just for drop passes in general. Keon Coleman, James Cook left 14 off the board, if we're going to be real. Keon Coleman, that would have been a walk-in. He did. That was a great route. He ran a great route. He just couldn't take the pass the heat.
But you see his hands,
from
he had his
Allen.
hands all weird. Dude. He was like,
he had it
like this instead of like that.
Yeah, I think he would. I think he just has to get used to Josh Allen throws darts like that. Like if you're not ready, then it's gonna probably bounce out of your hands. Like, and I just don't think he was quite ready. I guess, or just I don't know, because he has good hands. But that one, you gotta get that, because that's a walk-in touchdown. He there was nobody there. Like he already had room to go on Ramsey. Ramsey got beaten off the route. It is what it is. You got to catch that. And then James Cook later in the game also had a potential touchdown, just dropped the ball. Like we can't leave points off the board. Yeah, can't do that. So it's frustrating, because the 2 interceptions from Allen this year have been on the receivers. So Keon Coleman and this one, and then the first one was on Cooper, who fell down on his route. So it's like, it sucks, but it is what it is. But yeah, you gotta boo the drops in that game. So let's get the style and profiling. Curtis, I have a feeling I know who you're going to pick, but maybe you're not. Go ahead. Style and profiling.
I mean, you got to take Achane, man. That guy, you don't want to give that guy space in a pass game, in the run game. If he could stay healthy, he's really going to be something special. He struggles a little bit inside with the physical yards, but he's just getting started. He's going to develop his route tree. He's going to be able to get some more passes. But once he's just fast. That one screenplay where instead of following the block, he just took it to the end and he just left he's really a really good player. If we had just, it's a shame, because we actually have 2 really good running backs. We got Wright, who we drafted, who looks really good. They're a wonderful 1-2 combo. So I think that kid he had the concussion this year, but for the most part, he's been staying healthy, and it was a little slow to start, but this kid's really getting going. So it's got to be him. He is a special player. He actually makes me feel proud to be a Dolphin. He's like one of the few. There's like 5 guys that make me proud to be a Dolphin fan, and he's definitely one of them.
I noticed Mostert never got back on the field after the fumble too. I noticed your coach I don't recall him.
No, he was back on the field again. He was back on the field.
Was he? I don't recall. Yeah. I don't recall him getting another hand.
He's had like 2 or 3
but
big fumbles.
Okay, all right. I just don't remember that part. But Roy, so he didn't drop the ball. He was celebrating. I remember this play like it was yesterday. So Sammy Watkins was looking at the big screen, and he thought I think it was against the Jets, if I'm not mistaken. And he thought he had it. Like he thought, I don't know. I guess he thought he had enough room between him and the defender. And he was like, I think he had the ball out like this or something like that. And thought he was just going to walk into the end zone. And he still had like 10 yards to go or something. And the guy just, I think, poked it out. So, he got caught up. Like he was celebrating way too early. And the guy I guess he didn't realize how close he was on the monitor. I don't know. But yeah, go back and watch it. It's on YouTube. It's just so funny. Anthony, who you got? Style and profiling.
Can go to Garrett Wilson, AFC Offensive Player of the Week this past week for his performance against Texans. 2 touchdowns, including that amazing. I mean, both of his touchdowns were kind of amazing catches in their own right. Even the first one kind of stretched out, one-handed catch. I mean, this guy makes kind of amazing catches, and then he drops the easy ones in certain situations, like that one in Pittsburgh. But that second touchdown, I mean, how he kind of controlled his body, keep his shin in, that was just awesome. He's really kind of shown over the last few weeks. I think he's probably, one of those building block type of players that we just need to continue to kind of flourish around. I know that there was, a couple weeks ago after the Patriots lost, there was a lot of conversations about, do we strip this whole damn thing down, trade all these players? And I've been super against that. I mean, there's quality players in this building, including Garrett Wilson, and he's showing, he's someone you want to keep around for a long time, as long as possible, because he makes plays like that. It's just awesome to see.
So I was right. Man, I have a good memory. So it was against the Jets. I got to show you guys this. So I was right. So here we go for you guys. I'll play it real quick. So he didn't fumble. He was celebrating way too early, basically. He got caught up. So, oh my God. Yeah, brutal. So it wasn't a fumble, but he could have got in. He slowed down. It was looking at the monitor. Yeah.
Do you recall how that possession ended? I don't even remember the game, to be honest. Did you recall?
I don't remember. That was years. I'm not sure. It was years ago. But either way, like shit like that, you can't do stuff like that, man. So style and profiling. Yeah. Style and profiling for me, Josh Allen, of course. You got to give it to Josh. He made an unbelievable touchdown. And by the way, like these touchdowns now, like even though I'm like wowed, I don't even know if I'm wowed anymore. They just kind of are what he does. The one to Quentin Morris there to seal the deal, kind of to get us up 27-20. That was a hell of a touchdown pass. But I'm kind of getting used to those kind of throws by now because Josh, he just does that. And that's why, you know, those type of quarterbacks that can buy time, that's what makes them special, man. You give your receivers a chance, man. And that's what he did, man. So Josh Allen for sure. He had to put a Superman cape on a few times in that game. It wasn't a perfect game for him, but man, he made some unbelievable plays at the same time. So style and profiling for sure for him. All right, let's get to next week's games. By the way, Curtis has to leave here soon, but we're going to get out of here on time. First time that we're going to actually get out of here under 2 hours, by the way. So, Sophia, the Bills have placed linebacker Balin Spector on an IR. Wow. So, by the way, I call this guy BS because he's always hurt, and I don't even want to call his name anymore. That opens up another roster spot. But as of now, they haven't filled it in Buffalo. Buffalo has a elevated wide receiver Terrell Shavers and Hamler. Wow. Okay. We'll see. Yeah, I don't know. So we'll find out. But we're just another one bites the dust for the Buffalo Bills. So no surprise there. No surprise. Let's get to next week's story.
You definitely need to add some draft capital to that defense.
Listen, man, the problem with our team is we always lean towards the defensive side of the ball in the draft and free agency. And unfortunately, Curtis, it hasn't really worked out well for us. Like there's a few players that have worked out, but ultimately the amount of money that we have spent on defense. Now, grant you, our defense isn't the worst or anything, but it should be far better for the amount of money and the amount of draft picks that we have spent on defense that has not worked out. Like, man, our leading sack right now, our leading sacker is 4.5 of Gregor Rousseau. That's like kind of low, right? Like, yeah, I mean, it's like, can't have that. All the money you're spending on defense, you got to do better. And I don't know if it's scheme. It could be scheme as well.
A lot of why some of these players. Blitz. You're not blitzing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, you know, your edge. You still have your edge, right? So your edge.
But, you know, it's 4 on 5.
Still get home, but
yeah, it's
I get it, but
you're afraid of.
No, that's what I said. Scheme might play a part of that for sure. But yeah, I don't know.
Dolphins last year led the league just about with only rushing 4. So,
well, that's what I'm saying. You don't necessarily always have to. You also had one of the best defensive tackles in football.
Yeah, it's true. 2.
Okay,
Sheila
we don't have that.
Yeah, that's big.
Right. So
we do something. Daquan's not the same since the injury.
Daquan is a shell. He's a shell of himself. Now he's not terrible. Don't get me wrong. If Daquan Jones went to the Chiefs, he would definitely be on the roster.
That injury.
He was, but this is what happens when you miss time and you come back and you're a little bit older of a player and you're a little bit of rust. Now we did pick up some players. Quentin Jefferson, Jordan Phillips is back, but Jordan Phillips is not a run defender. He's more of a getting to the quarterback. That's a specialty. Yeah, and don't listen. I don't hate it. I don't hate those 2 pickups. They're cheap. Like Brandon Beane wasn't going to do any trades. I kind of had a feeling he wasn't, though. I think he should have. He didn't. I think he just waited around for scraps, which is what when teams can't get a trade partner, they just release players, and that's what he did. He got some scraps. They're familiar with the Bills. That's what they love to do. They love to go out and get former Bills players. And Quentin Jefferson played with us in 2020. Phillips played with us. I think this is his 3rd stint on the team. So I don't hate the pickup, but it doesn't really obviously move the needle. We'll see. We are getting some guys back. Matt Milano is expected to be back in December. We'll see. I mean, the coach is kind of hinting towards that. And there is some rumors out there that supposedly Micah Hyde could potentially return for a late push off, late playoff push. So we'll see about that. And it would be smart, but if you're going to do it, you got to do it immediately after the bye week because you want to get him in football shape. It's a real big difference between being in shape and football shape. So if Micah Hyde, if that is the plan, you might want to get him back sooner than later. But that's the plan right now for the Bills. So let's get to next week's game. So let's start with the Patriots and Bears. How do you see this game going, Curtis? And what's your score prediction?
I don't know. I predict I'm going to be sleeping through it.
There we go. That's a very good prediction. But give me your score.
I don't know. It's the Bears, they got a good defense. They got the rookie kid who's figuring things out. The Patriots.
Caleb. Yep.
Yeah, they're hot and cold. I mean, I think the Bears, where is it in Chicago?
Chicago. Yeah. So we're all the AFC East teams are on the road, it looks like this week. So yes, we are all on the road.
Yeah, I'll get why not, man? I'm just gonna shoot from the hip. Well, I'll give it to the Bears. I don't know why. I think the defense and their offensive line is better than the Patriots. So I like the mobility of Caleb. So I think they'll win. But Patriots could probably make it close. It'd be interesting. But yeah, I'll give it to the
What's your score? Just give me throw a score. Any score prediction.
I don't know these two teams. Like 17-8.
Jeez. Okay. 8 points.
I don't know, dude. I'm just like, I'm focused on all the games here, man. I'm focused on.
That's when you know Curtis is definitely not focused. 8 points. It could happen. I mean, a safety. Yes, it definitely can happen. All right, Anthony, do you have that 8 points? Are you going to counter that?
I don't have 8 points. I was in the right realm. I was going with more of a traditional score though, 17-10. The Bears to win this game. I'm with kind of Curtis on this. That Bears defense is good when it shows up.
They've had a lot of injuries, so it depends.
Yeah, they've had a lot of injuries for sure. I think Drake Mays have a little bit. Is probably one of the better defenses that he's played against. Wonder how he kind of goes up against that. See how he kind of rebounds a little bit here. And after a week throwing 2 interceptions, especially in Chicago, it gets windy over there. Can he handle? I mean, probably can handle it, but how does he handle those inclement kind of weather type of situation that you normally get in Chicago? And I just think both rookies struggle, but the Bears defense kind of, takes a step up.
Yeah, I don't see the Patriots winning this game. On the road against a pretty good Chicago Bears defense. Don't sleep on their offense either. They can get hot on offense as well. The Patriots defense is not the same this year. I think this is going to be a blowout. I do. I'm going to go Bears. No, I'm going to go 27-13 Bears. I don't know why something tells me that the Bears are going to smoke them. So I'm going to go Bears in a blowout in this game. I think May will struggle in this game on the road against Chicago. Like I said, I think that Bears offense can get rolling at times too, and I just think they're going to get rolling in this game at home, and they need to win way more than the Patriots need to win as well. So that's why I'm going with that, because they're in a really tough division, Chicago, so they can't afford to lose against New England. So that's why I'm going for that. I think they're going to be going all out against the Patriots. All right, next up, let's go get to it. Jets and Cardinals. We'll start with you, Anthony.
So yeah, I know a lot of these Jet fans are kind of high on this team because of one big win, but I don't know. Like, this game just really kind of frightens me a little bit. James Conner, like I mentioned earlier, he's one that can, really kind of take advantage of where the Jets defense has been struggling with those inside runs. He's kind of a road grader in that way. Just very concerning there. What I will say, this Jets offense had a magnificent second half in that last game. I mentioned earlier, Garrett Wilson, even Devontae Adams got up there with 90 yards receiving as well and a touchdown. A lot of promise shown by the Jets offense. I mean, this is going to be the kind of game, just like the way it kind of appears and the way this Jets defense has been playing, where the Jets would have to score probably like 28 to 30 points to make it even possible. I think Arizona's offense is kind of hitting its stride a little bit here in the last few weeks. They've been consistently kind of running up the score a little bit here. I don't know. I struggle with this one a little bit here. Probably have Cardinals win this one 27-20. Until I see a Jets offense prove that they can run the ball consistently and kind of score points the way that they did in the second half on a consistent basis. I mean, obviously not to that level, but just enough to make me feel like that offense is reliable enough. It's just hard for me to think that they can, match toe to toe with an offense that's humming at the moment, which is what Arizona's doing. So 27-20, I'm going with the Cardinals in this one.
All right, Curtis.
Well, yeah, I just got done playing the Cardinals. They're
you should know them.
Yeah, they're a well-coached team. Murray is developing a really good rapport with Harrison, and Connor and that offensive line is really physical and really good. I think they're going to outmatch the Jets, and the Jets struggle with that. It's going to come down to Quinnen Williams and Bryce Huff really like manning the fort. I think Moses is out for you. The one good thing is that you do play like man, and then you'll have either Reed or what's his face? What's his name? Yeah. What's his nickname again? I almost forgot his name. I'm getting Sauce. I was like Spice. I'm getting senility over here. You'll be able to play on Sauce. There you go. That's awesome. There you go, brother. They'll be able to match up on Harrison a little bit, and we couldn't do that. Ramsey was fried on the touchdown. Ramsey's still good. He just doesn't have the speed. Their defense isn't good. They got some pieces, and they'll blitz and they morph and they adapt. So it's going to really come down to that run game, how you manage it. For you guys, Morgan Moses got like a fracture in his leg and a partially torn.
Everything, man. That guy's walking injury report, man. He's crazy.
He's tough, man. He's tough. But if he goes down, your season's over, and that's not something you're going to recover from soon. I just don't. I really think that the Jets just gotta get away from this shotgun stuff. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I do like your matchups, though. I mean, I think you're going to have some good matchups through the pass game. I think Bryce Hall can get some runs off because there is going to be some gaps. It'll be very interesting to see how the Cardinals play. Like with us, they played 3 high and blitzed us, I don't know, like 12 or 13 times. It was the most we'd seen all season. And it didn't pay off for them at all, except that last drive that sealed the deal. So I don't know. Rodgers is going to have an A+ game. This offensive line, I don't think the pressure is going to get in there too quickly. I do think you're going to win if you can control that inside run game. That's the only thing I don't know. Can you control that inside run game? Because
that's the concern there. That inside run game, with James Conner is like the worst,
and he's like so good.
Running back you can go against. Yeah.
The only good thing about James Conner is he's not torching you for the long run. And so I think, it's going to be about you trying to get those points on, almost doing what they did to us. Just keep everything in front of you, try to get them off schedule. They're going to get the runs inside and wait for some mistakes. Murray's, weird because he's so short. He gets a lot of PBUs, like you can't see over the guys, but then you come in and you blitz him from the side and he just does that little pop rollout, and he just all of a sudden he just has all this time. He makes the big play. They showed me a lot when they beat us, so I got to believe you're going to win.
I mean, they're a good team. They're in first place in their division. I mean, they've kind of done it the spunky way throughout this entire season. They just kind of win these dirty games, whatever. And
Roy thinks the Jets are winning 28-24. Yeah, what are you thinking? What's your score prediction, Curtis?
I'm thinking 30-24 Jets.
I
Okay.
think that's the recipe.
I'm going to go
24 and up, like in order to make this even remotely possible. I mean, they're going to have to score points.
Have to.
I think the Cardinals win this game on the road. I think the Cardinals are once again, honestly, too, though, it depends on what Cardinals team shows up. But if the Cardinals team that played the Dolphins show up, then I think they do win. I think it's close, though. I think it might even end the way it did against Miami, where the Cardinals will have the ball last possession and they win by a field goal. So I'm going to say this one's close. I'm going to go 27-24 field goal by the Cardinals to win it at the end. So 27-24 on the road. I think the Jets just come up short against the Cardinals. That's just Kyle Murray's just man. He's a tough one to play again. And he's actually having a pretty good year this year. What does he have? 11 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I mean, so he's not turning the ball over. He's playing pretty smart with the ball. Connor's and also Connor's a problem too. Obviously, your run defense isn't the best. It's not the worst, but it's not the best. Your pass defense is solid. So that is something that, like I said, I think that'll keep you in the game. But the problem is containing Murray is the problem, because if you can't contain him and he could buy his receivers time to get open, they're eventually going to do that, right?
They've struggled with this season too. They've struggled with containing quarterbacks, especially Hassan Reddick. I mean, as good as he's been off the edge and stuff like that in the past couple of weeks.
I meant Reddick before, not Huff. I was losing my mind. I'm forgetting people's names again.
I meant to correct you on that, but didn't want to stop your roll. You want a little bit of a roll there. Reddick's kind of seems like he's not keeping that contained. He's going straight for the quarterback and stuff like that. Obviously, the Jets added incentive into his new contract where he gets so escalators in his pay if he gets 10 sacks. And to get 10 sacks in 10 games is you better be steamrolling to the quarterback. So that's what he's going for. And unfortunately, that's kind of burned us a couple of times the past few weeks.
Yeah, Nightshade Jones, great name by the way. Coming in Cardinals 24-13. So he thinks Cardinals will win. So let's get to the next game on the docket, which is Bills versus Colts in Indy. Start with you, Curtis.
I just did a podcast on it, and really it's going to come down to controlling that inside. Cooper's going to give you some leverage. But I think it's going to be a tough game for you because they got 2 really good blocking tight ends, and that offensive line is the best offensive line I think you faced. I think the Ravens are bigger, but this is a really good offensive line. Flacco, I think, is going to keep it consistent. The defense isn't so good. It's not a good defense. But I think the front, because they got who they got, what's the guy's name from the San Fran? He wasn't there when we played. What?
DeForest Buckner.
Yeah, he wasn't there when we played. So they've got a respectable front, and I don't think that you overmatch them on your offensive line, and I don't think your tight ends bring a lot to the game. But for me, the 2 wild cards, one was for them was the 2 tight end set, because I think they can physically mash you in a lot of ways. But I don't think it's going to be enough to overcome your wild card. If your offensive line and their linebackers, and you add in Allen, I think Allen's going to have a bigger day running the football than he has. I think there's a lot of space that they're going to leave on the table, and he's going to be able to break it. They got a small linebacking group. And they're decent in their safety group. They're decent in the corner group. Their defensive line is solid, I think, especially with Buckner back. But that linebacking group is terrible. And I was so surprised when they played us. They actually played 3 linebackers way more than they played nickel, it seemed like. And so I think that, you're going to win this game. I think it's going to be like a 10-point win. I think the first quarter is going to be a little unsteady. You guys have usually a strong second quarter. I think the run game is going to be key. I think even if they beat you in a run game just a little bit, I think you're still going to win it. I think the only way that you could lose is if somehow they can slow your run game, that interior run game down enough and get theirs off. I don't see it happening. You got KC. You could be looking past them to KC. I want you to beat KC. I think the NFL is trying to give them the 3-peat, the perfect season wrapped up into one. I think you win, but this interior, the A and B gap domination is going to play out big. And I think that they're a tough little team. Not really highly talented, but that offensive line is brutal. Pittman's not going to be in there, so they're not going to be able to test you too much. Right. But I think they're going to grind things out. This is going to be a quick game. I anticipate this to be a very quick game. I think you guys win, though. I think it'll be like pretty close first quarter. You'll get a little separation second quarter, and then maybe in the third quarter, if Flaquito throws a pick or something like that, and then it starts opening up in the third quarter and beyond. So I'm saying,
okay, what you got?
27-20.
Okay. Anthony, what you got, man?
Yeah, so I think we're I mean, we all know Flacco. I mean, he puts together some decent drives, but these last game, he was kind of like, not his typical like, journeyman type of like kind of operating with the offense the way he did with last year with the Browns. That was a very poor game for him. I think it was on Monday night whenever they played. I don't know. I think this line in this game is a lot closer than you would expect. The receivers in Indianapolis, nobody really gives you much fear, especially with Pittman out in this game. I know Pierce has had some success early in the season, but I mean the Bills have kind of come into these games where they're favored against another opponent and kind of run it through them. I think that's what we see here a lot. Josh Allen probably kind of has his big game, especially in a dome in Indianapolis. I think he's kind of built for this one a little bit here. So I think a lot of pointing the finger towards favoring the Bills. Their defense might be struggling, but I just don't see where anybody on Indianapolis gives you much fear. I know Jonathan Taylor's positive, but situation with the Colts is like really weird with everything going on with Anthony Richardson and Joe Flacco. It's just very weird. Taking himself out of the game. This is the season where you would expect Indianapolis to kind of see what the rookies got, and they just kind of gave up on that. They're kind of a little bit of a mess there. I think the Bills win this game. I don't think it's really close. 27-10.
Wow, you're very close to my score prediction, by the way. It's going to be harder. Night Shea Jones. This is going to be harder than it should be. Bills 2017. So from this report, and I believe it's has to be true because a couple people now said it. Shavers and Hamler, which are on our practice squad, have been elevated. More than likely, that means Amari is not going to play. I don't see how he would play. So that's a big loss for us. And now there's no Keon Coleman, no Cooper. So I had it 27-13. I may switch my score prediction up now a little bit because I have a feeling we're going to rely on the run more than anything in this game, which is going to long drives probably. And also the Colts are going to probably be running the ball. So this might be a quicker kind of game, low scoring. Golly. Listen, the situation in Indy is weird. It really is. I'd hate to be an Indy fan because you don't know what you got yet in Richardson. You do know, though, that he quit essentially on his team by taking himself out, which is unheard of in football. Yeah. Crazy. I mean, even from Pee Wee, especially in that position of all positions. Those guys are like boxers. They never want to go out.
I was tired. He said I was tired.
I was tired. I mean, he could have lied. He could have said anything, by the way. But he has the tools to be a successful quarterback. It's just, does he have it upstairs, right? Like, does he have it? I don't know. And the problem is with Colts right now is, are they killing his confidence even more? Because where are the Colts going? Like, when do they put Richardson back in? When they are officially not in the playoff hunt, they go back with Richardson. And by then, does he even want to play? Like, now you don't trust him. Now you want me. That's a really sticky situation. And, or is this more of a punishment? And he goes back and they put him in next week. So it's a really odd situation in Indy right now with that quarterback situation. Because, listen, Flacco's not taking that team anywhere. Like, that's not your guy that's going to be there for years to come. You didn't stumble upon this, this isn't Kurt Warner. Right? This is an old Flacco who's a reliable backup, but he's not your future. So weird situation in Indy. Now back to the game. I just think this game here is going to be another clunky offensive performance by the Bills because we just don't have a lot of weapons out there. Now, Khalil Shakir is still the number one. All right, so don't get it twisted. Even with Cooper out there, I think Shakir is still that dude. He's very good. Yards after catch is amazing. He will be the main target out there for the Bills. Dalton Kincaid is going to be your second target, but outside of those two, I mean, Shavers, we've called him up once this season, has done nothing. I don't even think we threw him a pass. Hamler, this is his first time coming up. We have another guy named Virgil. I forget his first name, who has very limited experience in the NFL. He's also on the roster. He got called up earlier in the week. So we have a lot of fresh faces that are going to be out there at receiver. So look for a lot of Mac Hollins to be involved, which I never like. So I'm going to go I'll change the score. I'll go 23, even though I'm not going crazy low. 23 13. I'll stick with 13 for the Colts. I think I just don't like their offense. They're missing Pittman. I think the Bills, if they could control the running back there a little bit, Jonathan Taylor, not let him totally destroy you, then they'll get after Flacco. Flacco's a pure pocket passer. I think the 4 would get home against them. He's not like it's a Tua or a Murray who can escape. You can get to Flacco and get a couple sacks. So I could actually see Rousseau having a decent game there because Flacco does tend to hold the ball a little longer than most. So that's how I see the game going. So I'll go 23-13. 23-13 I'll go instead of 27-13. So 4-point difference. Let's get to the main game here on Monday Night Football. By the way, I thought I saw somewhere, Curtis, you guys are 1-4 on primetime games over the last 2 years. Is that correct?
I know that McDaniel. Someone was telling me McDaniel's 1-9.
Yeah, McDaniel's
1-9.
Oh my God, really? Okay, Sam. I was trying.
That's
to be
not
nice
good, right, Tommy? I'm not good at math.
No,
not a recipe for success. So I'll give you that one.
I didn't hear that. Holy shit. Anyways, let's talk about your game, man. Go ahead.
It's really almost like kind of cruel, you know. You're in a situation where I grew up in New York, so I had to deal with the Jets fans and some Bills fans, and so it was always tough being a Dolphins fan, you know. And I love my fan base, but it is such a bad spot because I can see that the people that see hope, like, hey, look, McDaniel made some adjustments after 3 years. Hey, look at our run game. We're on track. Curtis, didn't you say we need a run game? And so I can see all that as like the hope, you know, and the possibility. And here we are. We play the Rams. They're not so good, quote unquote. And then we got LA, and then we got Patriots. And then we're gonna take it. We're gonna go 7-2. But it's like this win is big. We need the win to have any kind of hope. But it's like a yellow brick road. It's like just starting to see the wizard. And so we lose, there's a clarity, you know, it's very clear at this stage. I'm sure it's going to be obfuscated by many of the hopium pimps and the media. But this is a game we can win. It's very interesting. I mean, Jackson, our right tackle, I'm not big on, but he went down in practice for 2 practices now with his knee. And then, Haverstein, their best tackle, the right tackle, went down. So those 2 pieces are off the board. I like what we're going to be able to put in there a little bit better. They're not a great defense. They struggle with their secondary. But, man, Jared Verse is a monster. And even that guy Fish they picked up is a really tough player. And so you got the fan base, half them saying this offensive line sucks, and then half them saying it's awesome. And so now you're going to get a chance to evaluate everything, the totality, if they lose. And then in order to get the win, that O-line is going to get tested. Jared Verse is a monster. And so it is an opportunity here. They struggle with slot. So you're going to have Hill. You're going to have a Waddle. Tua is going to get his chance to throw that football to victory. But then the other side, they got Nakua and Kupp and Davis and Stafford, who won a Super Bowl and is heating up. And we've got problems in our secondary. We got problems getting after the quarterback. And so a lot of these things that people are saying we're doomed for are going to get tested. And a lot of the things that people are saying we got hope are going to get tested. But, man, I watched the Rams play last week, and they were wet in the bed, and they made some adjustments closing out the first half into the second half. That's a good staff, man. And so I want – like, part of me wants it to be over. I'm tired of, like, the up and down. And, the more we win, the closer we get to like extending Greer. But then the same token, it's like, I want to see meaningful football. I want to see that other half of the fan base happy. I'm really like torn over this one. We should win it, but we're the Dolphins, and it's like, they don't really have a home field advantage. It's turf. We're faster. We got Achane, and we got Waddle and Hill and Jonnu. We should win this based on like what you're seeing. But man, you look at the Rams, the first 4 games, they look like doo-doo. The last 3 games, man, they flipped the script. They went from like 23 or 24 points a game. Now they're like down to 18. So I don't know, Tommy. I'm torn. It's like, if we win, I got to keep going. Well, if we get the next one, and it's just like dragging this out. It's like this long, like I'm getting bled out slowly, cut by cut. It's like the other way, just like chop my head off and I'm done. So I'm kind of getting emotional. Like I don't really get emotional as an evaluator, but I find this like cognitive dissonance coming up. It's like I don't want to see Greer back next year. I don't want to hear just a few picks. We're doing it. But if we go to the playoffs, then I buy into it. I just don't see it. I don't know. I really don't know you guys make the call. I'm going to still think about it. I mean, I think the Dolphins should win it, but I find it.
All right, so you think you hold that?
Put 27 to 30 points on to win this game.
So you hold your score. We'll go to some in the chat. Maybe you can think of it while I'm going to the chat. Nightshade Jones, 7 degrees at kickoff. He has the Fins winning 33-29, so a close game. Roy coming in saying Fins 31-30, so very close score predictions here. Scott thinks the Rams are going to win. By the way, yeah.
The 31-30, man. I think that's going to be the range. It's about 30 points. Can we put it on? Man?
My bad. 57 at kickout. So he's saying 57. So it's a little cold for you Dolphins. So Curtis, come on, man. Give us a score prediction.
All right. I'll say Dolphins 34, Rams 31.
Okay, so Dolphins with the win, 34-31. Anthony?
But if not,
yeah,
I got you.
I don't know what to do, Tommy. I'm so tired of this, man. It's like torture. It's like I feel like Clockwork Orange, the guy at the end of Clockwork Orange with the things on his eyes and they're showing him the stuff. He can't get away from it. That's me. That's what I feel like. I don't even know anymore. I used to be all so clear. I don't know what to do, man. This is like really like some kind of weird. I feel like I'm an MK Ultra. The Dolphins team have me an MK Ultra.
Go ahead,
it's
Anthony.
tough when you come on these things. Every week, it's like trying to figure out, like, you're always trying to convince yourself, like, what they can possibly do to win. It's terrible.
Like a ghost in my head. I don't know what's telling me the truth, what's lying to me. It's like I'm confused.
Okay, 2 little intuitions on your side. So,
it's brutal, man. Help me.
I think the Rams have really turned this thing around. Obviously, a tough start to the year. Really kind of showing a lot of promise the last few years. Verse on the edge has kind of been absolutely, every bit worth his draft stock. He's a monster off the edge.
Unbelievable.
And I don't know. Armstead, I saw him on the injury report. I'm not sure what his status. I know he played.
He's always injured. He didn't even practice this week.
So, obviously, a big loss there if he can't be on there.
No, he'll be there, but Jackson's out.
Yeah. So. And this Rams offense obviously taking a kick in the right direction too. I know Nakua obviously has kind of shown a little bit after kind of missing the first few games of the year. With that knee injury, he's been back and playing great as well. I have the Rams win this game. Sorry, Curtis. I know it's one of those things like a flip of a coin type of thing.
Yeah.
I think the Rams are just hitting their stride, and they're a well-coached team. When they have confidence in that locker room, the coaching staff is going to take them the rest of the way. That's just the team they are. The Super Bowl caliber, coaching staff they've won one already. Go with the Rams in this one, 28-24. Dolphins offense been showing a lot of promise last
I'm even thinking like 27-21 Dolphins lose. I don't even know anymore. It sounds logical. I think I'm on a hopium train and I don't even want to be on it.
I was in the 30s too, like a lot of these people in the chat. I mean, I could definitely see it reaching there too. but something about this game just tells me it sticks in the 20s. But yeah, I don't know if either of them hits 30 in this game. It's just the way it is in the NFL. Sometimes you expect it to be 30-30, and then something happens.
Oh yeah, who knows?
Yeah, so I think this game finally ends Curtis' misery for the season. I think the Rams win. Rams are 3-1 at home. Dolphins 1-3 on the road. Not good. I think the Rams are finally starting to turn it around and get healthy. I just think I think the Dolphins do not have enough to beat this team on the road. I'm gonna go 30-23 Rams. I think the Rams are gonna put some points on that Dolphins defense, who have been kind of struggling a little bit as of late as well, giving them some points there and against the Cardinals late, against us late. I think Tua has a decent game, but I don't think it's enough. And I think, and also too, we were just talking about McDaniel's record on primetime games, not very good. So if you're going to go on his track record, you're going to probably count this as an L for the Miami Dolphins as well. So this will end it for you, Curtis, as far as your Dolphins season. I believe so. You'll fall to 2-7.
For me, it will, but I know there's going to be a strong holdout faction. We could do it. We got 2 wins.
Yeah, no.
Coming up.
That'll be.
Here we go.
I think realistic fans will know the deal when it comes to that. So, I think the Rams will do enough to get their win at home. So that's my score prediction. And do we have anybody have any rants to end the show this week? I think Curtis pretty much ranted all show.
Yeah,
so, Anthony, anything?
I'm up.
Nothing.
The only rant I have, if you have the ball and you see nobody around you and you see a white plane in front of you, hold the freaking ball across the goal line. Drop the ball after you hit the other white line at the back of the end zone. Then you can drop the ball. Do what the hell you want at that point. If you have not crossed the line, hold on to that damn ball.
That's right.
All right. There you go. All right, guys. So once again, man, we appreciate you guys watching the AFC East Shakedown. Next weekend, it will be on Anthony's channel, I believe. It's Anthony's turn to host, so it'll be on the Jets Life podcast. Right, Anthony? You're good to go next weekend?
I'll be good to go. I thought I was week 12.
All right, so no, you're next. Because tonight was Zach's night, and Zach was sick. So you're good to go now, and then it will be Curtis after you, and then me. So, guys, we appreciate you guys watching AFC Shakedown. Until next week, next Saturday at 4 p.m. We'll see you then. All right, guys, I'm out. We're out. Peace. Go Bills.
There.
Be a good
guy. Bye-bye. See, Peter, he's too fast. You got to tackle me. It's B. You got to press B. I'm pressing B. He's too fast. Going over here? Going over here now? Never get tired.